Gotta clear my frog.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show again. Tonight, we got some really interesting stuff for you because we got our friend and guest and celebrity, I suppose, Marina Anderson. And she was married to David Carradine, who you remember played Kung Fu.
He's a monk.
And yeah, had the grasshopper and all that business, and the about the what was it, Lin? The Shaolin monk. That's it, in the Wild West. So going back a bit for us, because it was quite a while ago. But David Carradine also, of course, played in Kill Bill and other things like that. And Marina will tell us a lot about that. But the main interest tonight is actually about what she's doing now and her work as a healer, which we're also going to talk about, and hopefully see her dog if he pops in at some point as well. So welcome, Marina.
Yeah, you're going to love her. She's a great
Hi.
You're going to love her. We love her.
So it's good to see you again, and don't forget, folks, if you later on or at any point start putting your questions on, and we'll obviously pick them out as we go along, and Marina will be able to answer some of your questions, and we will too. So
yeah,
hi there, Jane Oxley, coming in there from just joining us, and hi there, Kathy Murray. I think you've been on before. I recognise that strange profile you've got there. Hello from Germany. Yeah, great. We're getting people from all over again. We've had anyone from India today. Namaste. It looks like it. Yeah. And the States. We got some people from America, hopefully.
Oh, all right.
So where are you coming from, guys? Let us know, because it's quite interesting to see from all over the world.
Texas.
Marina's talking to us today from Hollywood or from LA, but near Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so here we go. So anyway, if you're following this channel, don't forget also to follow the channel if you're new to this channel. And if you get interested in seeing this live, you can become a patron on this channel, which means you're able to follow all sorts of live stuff, including this one, but also the private live stuff that we do as well. So, hi, Marina.
Hi.
There you go, girl. There you go.
I'm not quite a morning person because I stay up at like 2 a.m, so I'm still getting the blurry eyes awake.
I suppose it's a completely different time of day there, of course, isn't it? As we always.
You're hours ahead of me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting ready to bed as you're getting up. Hi there, Lisa. We're just saying hello to some of the guys that are joining us here.
South Africa.
And you can also watch this channel on YouTube as well as Facebook Live as well. So we can see them and from New York as well.
Namaste.
So
let's get going.
Where do we begin with you?
Ask him, will pop in. I hear him downstairs.
But let's explain how we kind of connected first of all, shall we? How we all got to know each other, because it was a kind of a coming together, wasn't it, when we were talking about doing that program a long while back called The Psychic Family. We were talking about doing something in America with it, weren't we? And
right, I was looking for people, and I came across your website and went, oh my God, these people look fascinating. And then we just kind of bonded, and it kind of just grew from there.
And we did the whole India thing with that mystic journey to India when we came to shop all the American stuff over there with you.
Just fascinating journey that you took. That was amazing.
Yeah, so it's been a very important influence in our life, Marina, and also
vice versa. You're just wonderful people, speak the truth, and when spirit comes through you, boy, do they come through.
Yeah, I remember doing that link with you. Actually, we did some Skype one, didn't we? In which I was telling you about that ring that David Carradine gave you, the 2 hearts entwined or something, wasn't it? I can't remember it now, but
it was the 2 hearts entwined, but it was also the different bands, and I got a ring for him that had different sayings on them.
That was it.
And you got that, yeah. That was pretty amazing because not too many people knew about that.
No, I wouldn't have known about it because that's something that's to you.
Yeah.
It's often the little things that make it clinch, doesn't it, when you do a reading for somebody like that?
Well, that's a definite affirmation. When nobody would know about that, and that it comes through. You go, definite. They've got it. They've got the connection. Yeah.
Well, it was David Carradine, and of course, the people will know you partly from the TV because you've been on a few things recently, haven't you? I seem to remember.
Done a lot of things. Yeah, I worked out of Canada extensively, as well as the U.S. But I go back meeting David like in the 1970s. I'm dating myself. See, I'm coloring my gray.
Did you met him originally on the set of Kung Fu? Did you? I'm not quite sure.
It was originally the very first time I was taking acting lessons on the Warner Brothers lot when he was doing his show, the original Kung Fu. And we had a break, break between classes. And I wandered over to the sound stage where they had all these candles. I went, ooh, that's really cool. And I just felt like somebody was behind me. And I turned around and it was David in his Shaolin robes. And he had the bald cap on, when they have the images of him with no hair, shaved.
Yeah.
And he was just smiling at me, and I was so intimidated. And I knew who he was, but I was, and he came up to me and it was a very, very short conversation. I don't remember what I said, but other than he invited me back to visit, I never did. Fast forward, my second husband was friends with another mutual friend of his. And Gail Jensen, who I knew from Valley College, was his wife at the time. And it's all these like intermingled, dovetailed connections throughout the years. And then fast forward, I go to audition for his new show, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. And it just kind of rolled from there, the connection. It was destined, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and actually, you helped him a great deal, didn't you? Because Kung Fu was, often when you go on a big show, you become sort of typecast, don't you? You can't take their thought away from the idea that this guy is Kung Fu, and he carried that. I remember hands,
People always think that he was Kwai Chang Caine, the all-knowing and very zen. No, he was definitely the rebel and very, very different from that. So when we finally divorced, and I wrote my book, David Carradine, My Tornado, but I'm fast forwarding a lot here. I also investigated his death because what was in the press really didn't ring true for me. So I investigated it myself, and it's in the book and the whole.
This is after you. This is after you introduced him or got him to meet Quentin Tarantino, didn't?
Right. When we first started living together, it was the Toronto Film Festival. And there was a big party at the Bistro 990, which is no longer. And we were upstairs at the party, and in walks Quentin Tarantino. And David and I had just been talking about how he resurrected careers. And he was too intimidated to go up to Quentin. And I was like, we're not going to miss this opportunity. So I went up to Quentin, and I said, because David was my boyfriend at the time, I said, my boyfriend would love to meet you. And Quentin is like, oh yeah, who's your boyfriend? And I said David Carradine, and he was like, it's literally, he was so funny. He said he was too intimidated to go up to David.
Oh wow.
So I said, well, let me introduce you. And I literally took him by the hand, went over to David, and it was like a 20-minute love fest.
Yeah.
It was, and then from then on, it was during the relationship in the marriage with David, constantly communicating with Quentin that, okay, now he's sober. That's a whole other thing. Help David get sober. And then Kill Bill happened. But that's when we were divorcing. So,
which is a shame, really, because that was a big movie.
Yeah. I accomplished what I set out to do because this is very public. David had a drinking problem. And the time that we met, he was a quart and a half of vodka a day. So I would do healings on him to help try and get him to stop. So that combined with being in love, I served as an incentive. I didn't get him to stop. You have to stop. You have to want to do it yourself. But I helped with the incentive. So I want to clarify that with a lot of people. Oh, you got him to stop. No, I helped. So the 6 years we were together, he stopped with the alcohol. When we divorced, unfortunately, he went back to the alcohol. So it helped in resurrecting his career because he got, as his manager and publicist, proving, and it built his resume back up as a clean and sober actor because he had lost the reputation and the opportunities were difficult to get and the trust in Hollywood. But the goal was to build it back up, which I helped and I did with him. And Kill Bill was the highlight of which I never really got to share with him because we were.
No, it's a shame, really, because I mean that was in many respects that was the peak of his career. Certainly, it's a lot of what we remember. It's more than TV; it's movies, isn't it? And that's a big step.
Right.
And then it all went a bit sour, of course. As
yeah, it did. Well, I know. Who knows? Word probably got around that he was drinking again, and you know, he never got an A-list movie after that, unfortunately.
Yeah. And of course, the big thing was, you know, I mean, it was we when we were on the Big Breakfast show on the UK, we got to meet Paula Yates, who was with Michael Hutchins, and Michael Hutchins, of course, was one of these guys that was into all sorts of strange stuff, and they found him.
Well, David was too.
And this is the similar, wasn't it, for David? Right. He had the same type of personality type and the same sort of unusual ideas in his
proclivities.
Yes. I don't know how we say. We're very British over here, so
what I found out, Dr. Drew Pinsky, Celebrity Rehab and Sober Health and all these wonderful shows in the United States and worldwide. I got a consultation with him for the book because I was still trying to get answers to certain things I couldn't figure out. And mind you, I did write in the book about incest being perpetrated by David and the correlation with that with my being molested by my uncle, my dad's brother. So this goes, sounds really disjointed, but it's really not. I felt, because I knew about this with David, I felt part of my mission in the relationship was not only to help him heal, but to help me heal. And so it was part of the forgiveness of my uncle and that whole thing. And I made a lot of progress with mine, but he wasn't wanting to make progress with him. And then eventually in the end, we just didn't work. So I do write about that in the book. And I wanted the consultation with Dr. Drew is to help with that. And that was the epiphany for me. God, if I had met him 20 years prior, I would have run from David and not like dove in to the relationship because I wasn't healed yet. So he explained so much. I finally got closure.
Quite a tough Marina, wasn't it, really? And all those question marks around his death too. I mean, was there something? Were there other people involved? I mean, I did a video recently about Hendrix.
I believe there was. I got the autopsy report from Thailand, and I spoke with Dr. Michael Baden at the time, and I did really intensive work, which was emotionally just so bizarre and difficult to go. I literally had a roll of toilet paper on my desk because I was constantly crying. I believe he was murdered. Motivation, who knows, or by who knows. But from the information I got from various sources that came out before the book and after the book, there's no way he was there by himself doing that.
Yeah, it seems that every time there's a celebrity death, everybody does a runner, don't they? Whether it be Michael Jackson's death, whether it be Hutchins that we talked about, or all the big names where there's been an unusual death of some sort, they all do a runner, and they were always with this mystery afterwards. And that must have been quite hard for you, really.
It was really difficult. But again, going back to Dr. Drew, what I didn't know, and I can't say for sure, but from the explanation, my understanding what Dr. Drew was telling me is David got off the alcohol, but we had a lot of painkillers around, various surgeries, plastic surgeries, and things like that. And so the checklist that I went, well, why is this and this? Why would he do that? Blah, blah. It's because evidently, supposedly, it seems like he was on the painkillers. And that's an addiction in itself. And the opioids change the brain chemistry in people, and it doesn't revert back. So things like the proclivities, it keeps getting heightened. So it takes more and more to satisfy that hunger, shall we say? So to a point where it's in the danger zone. Mm-hmm. And I just think he invited the wrong people up with him. And whether it was intentional or not, I'd say he was murdered. So yeah, it's just really very sad and very unfortunate, to say the least, because he was a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
And, that Johnny, because I always called him Johnny, I was still very much in love with him during the time I was even doing the book after his death and everything. And so thanks to Dr. Drew, I finally got closure with the whole thing. I was able to heal from that and move forward.
Yeah, and so I find with most people that have taken, because you've taken quite a spiritual path now. I know you have, and I don't know a single person that's truly spiritual that hasn't had some suffering in the background, particularly if it involves a gift like clairvoyance or, in your case, healing. And do you find that your healing came somehow out of these experiences? I mean, did the negativity of what you were going through increase? Well, I'm sure it increased your empathy, but did it also somehow help to trigger the gift that you've got?
As a kid, I used to astral project. I didn't know what it was called, but I used to go visit my grandparents' house when I was a kid. And I remember telling my mom, I don't want to float away tonight. I want to stay home. And she's like, what? I had visions and things, and I didn't know that I was psychic as a kid. My dad was also psychic as my mom's mom, my grandmother. And my mom, although she totally denied it until she was, in her 90s, she always just said it was just a gut feeling. But she was extremely intuitive and psychic. My dad had the healing touch. You could have a headache, you could have aches and pain, and gone. So I think I got that from my dad. I had a reading, and I don't remember the psychic's name at the time, but I was maybe 15, 16, and they said, you have the gift of healing. You should study that. You should pursue that. So that's what kind of planted in my head, oh, maybe I've got what my dad did. And I would just do it for friends. I wasn't really doing it professionally or anything by any means. And I set all of that stuff aside until I had an automobile accident, and I had major problems with my back and neck. And I went to this chiropractor. I said, there's got to be another thing to do to heal from that. And he said, well, a friend of mine is a teacher at the Healing Light Center. They had classes in a school in Glendale at the time. Now it's Sierra Madre. And I enrolled, and that's where I met Rosalind Bruyere, who is a healer. So I studied with her off and on for a good 7-8 years. And that's where I got my formal training. And that was my home. I knew that is where I belonged. I mean, it was just, that's it. And then from there, I learned different modalities and other things, and Reiki master, and different forms of the Reiki and things like that. And I just expanded out from there. And then, friends would tell me about illnesses and things, and I would just work on them, and man, they had like results. And it was like, But I was too busy with the acting and the writing and then doing other things. I never really thought of doing it officially until fairly recently. It's been bubbling up for the past several years to a point now where it's like, okay, I get it. Ta-da. Here I am.
Marina, tell us about your work with animals, because I know you're a great lover with animals, and I know you're very sweet with them. You heal animals.
I've had animals all throughout my life. My first dog, Chinelli, then my golden retriever, Dalton. I had 4 beautiful cats, and they all passed away, and they all had their various problems. And then I had my collie, my beloved collie, Lulu, who was daughter to Lassie 8. And that's when I really started putting my healing to work, because she had inoperable tumor in her neck and close to the spinal cord, and she went through hell. And that's what made me angry enough to like, okay, I have to do something to help other animals. And so it took me 11 and a half years before I got another dog. And now I have Lassen, which I'll bring him up at some point here.
Yeah, we'll get them fighting.
So I work on friends, animals, and then people, word of mouth kind of thing. And so I've started to do that too. And then thanks to COVID, I'm doing them remotely. So it's either Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, whatever. So, and with people too.
Yeah.
So I'm in
Do you make a list with do you make a list with your clients with animals, and do you do absent healing on them?
A list as far as, what do you mean?
Well, because sometimes healers write down animals that are not very well, and then they usually sit down in a deep meditation and send out vibration and energy and visualization to the animals.
In fact, quite a good idea. If those of you that are watching this can write comments, give us your animal's name if there's an animal in problem. Because, and don't forget, in the comments, in the description of this website, of this YouTube, you can find Marina's website link, and on there you can find out all about these services that she can offer you for absent healing for animals and for humans and so on. And particularly, you know, while we got the coronavirus, you know, healing is a good thing to call upon. So there's all the contact there for her in the description of the YouTube. And the book is there.
And the book. Don't forget the book.
I don't do I say a written list per se. What I do is if they'll tell me a name, or if they email me a name or something, I'll look at the name and the screen kind of a thing and vibe into it. But I love to have photos. That's really the best. So they don't have to be there live. I can have a photo. But yeah, it could be a written name, or I can write the name or something. But just, you know, I can focus in doing that. And I use a combination depending on what the person needs or the animal needs. I mean, I use color therapy. I use sound therapy, crystals. I use a combination of what the method I learned with Rosalind, with the Reiki. It's just a combo pack. I don't believe in just one thing. People think that they have to be certified in certain things to be official. If you've got the gift, you've got the gift. I know so many people out there wondering if you do. Just practice, you know, just feel your energy, and you'll feel this stuff in here, and start working. Go online and things and contact me, I'll help. But everybody, I believe, has the gift. But it's like a muscle. You have to work and exercise it. And your body is your castle, your temple. So you have to keep that up too, in order to have the energy to help other people, because you need the energy to put out there. So
I want to ask you, Marina, have you ever seen a spirit of an animal leave?
No, that I haven't. When Lulu passed away, I'll go to tears in a minute. She did pass away in my arms. I didn't see anything, probably because I was too emotional and I was sobbing, so I really couldn't see anything. I haven't had that. I would say that's a privilege, because that is, I say, a sacred moment to do that. With my mom, I was with her and holding her hand, and I knew it was towards the end, and I fell asleep. I told her, I said, Mom, I'm going to take a nap. I'm right here. In my dream, I could see her leave. And that's a whole thing that was too intense to go into, but I knew, and I woke up suddenly and she was gone. So, but like, I'm looking at you, no, I haven't seen that yet. So, but that to me is a very sacred moment and privilege to see something like that.
So don't forget, everybody, give us your questions, because Marina's, if you've got anything you want to ask about some of the things that we've gone through so far, what happened with David Carradine, you can. Anything on that area, anything on the animal healing, any thoughts you might have, particularly any questions you have, Marina and ourselves can answer some of your questions.
And also, Marina makes some wonderful jewelry too, doesn't she?
My flying goddess.
Yes, we must mention that.
This is the original version. It has the back side, and then it has the front side. This is like the original. And then I did them in sterling silver with 18 karat gold plate with little diamonds and pink sapphires in the belly button. Shirley MacLaine sold them on her website for a few years, and she's got them. Dr. Maya Angelou, Jennifer Love Hewitt, a lot of celebrities have them. Fran Drescher. So now I'm selling them on Etsy, and they're very small, like about that big, but they're a really cute etched version of it, and it comes with an affirmation card and a feather. And women are all goddesses. We're born that way. Just remember your inner power gives you wings to fly. That's the motto.
I saw we had a question come up there a moment ago. Somebody asking, I think it was, what's set to, here we are. Marina, what's the one thing that put you on the path of spiritual healing? What was the big thing behind it? What was the driving motivation for you?
I don't like seeing people and animals suffer in pain. I think that was probably the motivating thing. My mom had some back issues then too, and emotionally too. People have emotional pain, and that you can feel that physically. It hurts. So that was probably the main incentive why I wanted to learn more about it and how to channel it, and so I could really help people. So when I started studying with Rosalind, I felt more empowered because I had more tools. I wasn't just kind of like out there, just, I can really push the energy through and channel and things like that. So that's basically it. Yeah, I don't like to see.
Really impressed when we came to LA and we were doing the tours and things over there. We did all that showing.
So much fun.
Yeah. I was impressed by the people like in Hollywood Hills and things that you took us around to see. They all had animals. A lot of them had animals, but they were kind of always adopted, weren't they? They were rescue animals. They didn't, they always seemed to get them from rescue homes. And I was very impressed by the compassion.
There's huge. It's huge. To rescue, do not buy rescue. Mind you, Lulu was from Bob Weatherwax from the Lassie lineage. That was an exception, but all my animals have been rescues, including Lassen. And so, it's and they go through such trauma, and that again, you want to help them with the because Lassen had PTSD. I have PTSD. Great match. So we helped each other, still helping each other. They go through trauma, and this, it really helps animals get through that. Because what happens is when you go through a trauma of any sort, it's an energy shift. And to change that back, sometimes you need help from an outside source. So you can do it yourself, but you need to do the meditation and learn how to do that properly, to channel it and shift the energy back. There's a whole progressive thing of how to do that. Animals, and especially rescues, really need help and love and understanding and patience. A lot of people don't have patience, and then they'll turn the animal in without giving them a chance. Sometimes it takes like 6 months to a year for an animal to decompress, depending on what trauma they went through.
Yeah.
So
Nana Rose has just written a question here saying, what is psychic surgery? I don't know if that really applies to animals so much. No.
Well, psychic surgery to me would be, it is healing in a way, but if somebody has a particular condition, you zone in and you literally you visualize let's say it's a tumor, and you visualize cutting it out and having it just into dust and disappear. So I would call that psychic surgery.
Yeah, and also I think sometimes the spirit helpers from the spirit side actually,
without a doubt, without a doubt,
doing this. Yeah,
I've got my guide.
Many of the great healers thought that. Yeah,
there's definitely guides around me all the time helping me with this, without a doubt.
So Agility Bits says, who obviously likes animals because you've got a collie on there. Marina, you give healing to animals and people, but are you able to heal yourself? So are people able to heal themselves in the same way that we might project healing to another person? Or maybe if we've got an illness, can we project healing to ourselves? Or
Absolutely. It's what's difficult with that is we sometimes get in our own way with things because there's, our mind goes off in different directions. It's like, don't think of the pink elephant. All you think is a pink elephant kind of thing. To get out of your way and allow the energy to come through and stuff. This is not to say you do not go to a regular westernized medicine doctor. That I believe it can work together. So, you can heal yourself. Absolutely. But sometimes you need help with that, whether it's something like alternative medicine and or going to the doctor and getting that antibiotic or something, or that surgery. So it's integrative. It all goes together. But yeah, learn how to channel your energy, get yourself pumped up and meditate.
Another question for you, Marina. Guy, how does one know that one has the ability to heal? Are there any signs?
You can practice on other people and see what their reactions are. But there's like I said, a very simple thing is if you sit here, and I'm a little low energy today, but if you go like this and you start to feel like you feel some stuff in there, you can just feel like maybe a little slight resistance, or it's like it's more dense or something. And then if you have your feet flat on the floor, pretend there's little trap doors there and feel like it's a fire hose, like feel like whatever your color energy you want. I always go to gold, pull it up through and through your hands, and then you'll start to feel more stuff there. That's a basic exercise that I do sometimes before I do healing and stuff like that. Or if I'm just feeling depressed or funked out about something and my energy is like, that's what I'll start to do, and it'll force me to get re-energized again. So and then what you do is you go and try and touch somebody and see how close you can get for them to feel it. And that energy.
Yeah, very similar things. I've written about that in my book, Psychic School, actually. The same sort of idea that you get a sort of energy between the hands. Almost like, it's like sometimes it attracts and sometimes it pushes away. It's like two magnets that are trying to push apart.
Yeah. So I believe everybody has the ability.
The dog.
Put that energy into somebody else. The hands-on healing I studied with Rosalind, it's definitely hands-on, touchy. You get in there and you can feel stuff. I'm a ordained minister with Universal Life Church, by the way, so we had to do that in order to license to be able to touch people. Reiki, you don't have to touch people. There's certain symbols and hand movements and stuff like that you can hover above. But when I do that, my hands would feel absolutely cold, but they would feel heat. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole different modality. But
one of the important things from the way you talk, it must come through you, mustn't it? The light, the energy, whatever way you draw it. You say you draw it from.
Reiki pretty much.
Draw it from above. Either way.
Down, and the way I say with Rosalind is from the bottom. Yeah. So
it's through you. It's not from your own life force. So question the person said,
I think every healer works different.
Yeah, we're channels.
Everybody works different, and
that's very true.
Works, whatever works for you. Start experimenting, and then just get close enough to an animal or something and see if they're sleeping, especially. Don't get too close because their fur can kind of sense it. But you can see. I do it to Lassen all the time because he had an ear thing that he's still getting over. And they can feel it. So because they're more sensitive because they're smaller beings than we are, unless you have like a Saint Bernard or something. But
your dog in the background's walking up and down as you're talking.
Lassen. Well, Lassen. He's shy on camera.
We've got another question from Kathy Murray. Do you prefer doing healing on people or animals?
Because I adore animals. I love working with animals. Sometimes people can, I don't know, be a little distrusting and negative, again, because stuff gets in the way and it's based on their history and stuff. It's just animals are just complete unconditional love, So, and also they're smaller beings, and it actually is easier to work on an animal because they're smaller, usually.
I always think actually one of the things when people work on animals is, they say to people that when we heal humans, it's a placebo effect, or it's an effect that the person thinks they get better, but with an animal, if they get better, there's no way there could be this belief thing or this thing that they've got better because they think they're going to get better. Get better because of the actual energy you give them, doesn't it? They're the absolute proof of the power of healing. If an animal can get better, particularly if it's a radical change sometimes. I mean, have you had any pretty remarkable results in some of the work you've done? Has there been anything that startled you as being particularly given you a lot of proof that healing really works?
Well, I mean, just recently, because Lassen kept shaking his head and like scratching and pawing and stuff like that. And I took him to 3 vets. The first 2 said, oh, he's got an irritation. It's not an infection. Don't know what it is. And then I brought him to, well, actually in between I was doing healings on him. And then by the 3rd vet, because he was still doing it a little bit, and I thought maybe they missed something. And then the 3rd vet said, oh, there's nothing wrong with his ears. And I was, you sure? So, oh, there he is. He's going into his bed. With animals, you can pretty much see an instantaneous sort of feedback, I guess. I think with people, sometimes it's because they've got more going on in a way. It's more complex. But they, they'll tell you what they're feeling.
And of course, with an animal, you're kind of free. Yeah, trusting as well. But you're kind of free to do a diagnosis with an animal. It's a bit more difficult doing a diagnosis on the person.
I don't diagnose.
No.
I can't diagnose, but I can tell you what I'm feeling and what my opinion is what I'm feeling, sort of thing. But we're not allowed to diagnose.
Nobody's allowed. We're not allowed to diagnose, even with clairvoyance. People say, "Am I pregnant?" I'm not allowed to say, because that's a diagnosis.
But like Lawson, it was like, you know what, guys? I don't think that's just an irritation. I think it's an inner ear thing. So that's why I started with his inner ear, and so his slight going a little bit off when we were playing disappeared. So
you read this one.
There you go.
Another question in here, Marina. Stuart is saying here, hello all, kiss kiss. My question is, I have 2 beautiful 9-month-old kittens, cats, and I wonder if there's anything I can do spiritually to make them feel more at home. They're both very nervous, and these cats are my first cats. It's new to me.
Oh, precious. Well, just in a practical sense. Okay, but yeah, you run energy on them. And just you talk to them. And this is a practical sense, but at the same time, do the pump. I call it the pump up, pump you up, right? Do the pump up, and then put the energy over them. And then at the same time, just talk to them and say, you are safe and you're loved and you're welcomed here. And literally just do some positive affirmations. Play some pleasant music, like what you would do for a human being. And just keep that's the basic, just to start with that, see how they react and things.
I've always found with cats particularly, and I remember talking to some friends about this that were very interested in this idea of geopathic stress, right?
You bring them on camera.
It's a very kind of
but these cats are very
aware of energy.
These cats are very spoiled, and they obviously sleep on the beds. These cats, and they don't want for anything, and they're treated literally like babies.
Yeah.
You feel that? I do.
I think this guy loves his cats. Definitely.
I say guys, not guy. I feel that they take over the house.
Yeah.
Such.
Yeah.
He definitely.
He's a star of the show now.
Oh,
my guy. He's shy.
Okay. Is he related to Lassie as well?
No.
No. He's a stray.
Okay.
His PTSD, he was abandoned at a trucking facility for over 3 months, and the truckers would feed him, but they couldn't catch him. And in the back of the facility were coyotes and hawks. And he fended for himself for over 3 months. So he definitely had PTSD from being attacked and running from coyotes and hawks and things. So, July 27 will be the 1-year anniversary that I adopted my fur baby. So he's come a long way. And yes, baby.
Oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah. Everybody give him away.
He's shy.
Another nice, interesting question come up here, Marina. Franco here saying, and I thought this was rather nice because it raises another whole idea about the life and continuation of life of animals actually after death. He says, in the 1970s, when I was at school, I had a cat called Sooty. I love that cat and still do. I still dream that he will be there for me when I die. Would Marina know?
I believe that they are. I totally believe that they are there. Even here, I mean, there's certain things that have happened that it's like, I know Lassen was in the other room, and yet I was busy in the computer doing something, and I felt a nudge, and I thought it was Lassen, but there was nothing there. That was, to me, I know that was Lulu. So I totally believe that they are there. We just can't see them.
Yeah,
definitely.
Same thing with people, So yeah, I definitely believe that.
We lost our cat not long ago. One of our cats, Angel,
Siamese.
and I keep coming into the room at night when I come down. I keep thinking I've seen her. It's like you see them at the corner of your eye.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that happens with for my cats. It's like and we're like, okay, all right, that must have been one of my okay, yeah.
It's a bit like that. And actually, also with the work we do as mediums, of course, we're always getting. Messages that include the animals. They don't get the message from gran and grandma and mum and dad or whoever's over the spirit side. They also get the message from the animals, and even sometimes get the names of the animals. So there's absolute proof not only of the cats and dogs, but I remember people coming through giving proof of horses and someone that kept parrots and sometimes odd, very odd stories that come in.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe that they are still there. Yeah, without a doubt. So
I've got another question here from Subhan. How do I learn healing? Are there any practical books and videos that you can suggest?
There's tons of books. Just Google it. Books on healing. If you want to get more technical with, Rosen Briere put a book out, Wheels of Light, and there's another one. Just look up Rosalind Briere, Bruyere, and it gets into nitty gritty. It isn't just the kumbaya stuff.
Yeah, good one. Yeah.
Her background being scientific, she really gets into nitty gritty of stuff. I mean, when I did the school, you had to learn anatomy and psychology. I mean, it was a school. So her books are really good. Just Google it, books on healing, and tons of things will pop up. Go online.
I like also the very classical books, as it were, from the early spiritualists. Harry Edwards' books are well worth the read. Anybody interested in healing? It's from another era. But fits in those books. Yeah, Harry Edwards.
I'm going to offer up to you via Zoom and whatnot. So contact me, and then we could book a session. I can give you some classes.
Yeah, you can give a lot of advice about how to heal as well, can you, for people, and help them with that teaching side as well.
Right. I can help teach you and go from there.
Right. From Princess Zena, do you get messages from pets that have passed?
Yes, definitely. Okay, so the place that I'm in now, I've only been here not even 2 years. I had my doubts about this. And so I asked for a message. I was bringing my deposit check into escrow, and it's like, I really don't know. Is this the right thing to do? Okay, so I bring the check in, I pull out of the parking lot, and I'm waiting to make my left turn. And at the pole across the street, what they have here when a production is on location, they have a production signs as to the name of the production and whatnot and where to go and stuff. And they're usually black letters on yellow signs. So as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, across the street is this yellow sign with black letters, Lulu.
Well, I'm blessed. Oh, wow. That was a sign, definitely.
So, there's messages all over the place that communicate through people, animals, your spirit guides, guardian angels. There are messages. If you pay attention, the messages are there. Even to last night, my router went out. I thought, the day before I'm supposed to do this, and my router goes out. Dang. And it's like, man. So I had to exchange the router, and so can't give it out. But the passcode was words exactly what I'm doing with the jewelry. It was like an affirmation right there. It's like, seriously? Whoa, okay. Because I'm in the process of doing another charm. And it's like, do I put the time into doing that or not? And there was my affirmation. So
great.
Yeah, it happens to so many things, doesn't it?
Tons. Yeah, I've got a whole file full of. I'll publish one of these days soon, hopefully.
Another interesting question here is, how do you communicate with animals on the other side? Now, I know your work's mainly healing, so I don't know what that would be for you. But do you get pictures instead of animal noises?
Way I communicate, I literally.
How do you sense it if there's an animal from the spirit side around you? That's, I think, what they.
Oh, how do I sense it? Because if I want to get in tune with them, I just try and get quiet, but I visualize them or look at a picture, and I'm instantly like, there's a picture of me and Lulu right here, and it's just my girl.
Oh yes, Lulu. Yeah. A beautiful dog.
So I just instantly tune in. I can feel the presence there without a doubt. When you're starting to get into this, sometimes it's hard to think, well, am I really feeling that? Am I not? Stop doubting yourself. What you're feeling is what you're feeling. And I definitely feel, if there's a presence in the room or not. Same thing with like my mom or something, or David being around or something.
I think everybody doesn't. Well, I mean, we do mediumship, of course, and others do mediumship.
You feel it for sure.
We all respond in a different way. We all sense it in a different way, don't we? Some see pictures, because that's what we think.
Some will hear something.
Feel.
Right. I usually just feel it. Sometimes it has happened that I've heard something, and it wasn't necessarily like with Lulu, a bark or something. And this happens in this place all the time. I'll hear something downstairs, and it's like, I go down there and there's nothing. And then upstairs there's like a big clunk, and there's nothing that's fallen, nothing. And there's definitely energies or somebody communicating with me.
I mean, animal kingdom do it pretty much the same way the humans do it when they communicate. I mean, they get it in different ways, signs sometimes.
You feel them brush past your legs.
Well, across your legs or on the bed. That's happened to me numerous times. And it definitely wasn't Lassen. You feel like something just jumped on the bed. And it's like, nothing's there. Well, oh, yeah, there is. It was like, it's got to be one of my cats, So you'll definitely start. Once you're open to it, then you'll start being aware and start seeing, feeling, whatever your thing is, you'll start experiencing it.
Open your mind, isn't it? Open your mind to the other side.
Yeah.
Do you want to read this one, Jane?
Oh, Jennifer, do you utilize singing bowls in your Reiki practice or to clear energy?
I do. I have my singing bowl, definitely. And I also have the simple things. I use all sorts of sound and like I said, colors that because I'm a kid at heart. And this I did for a friend of mine who he was run over by a car. And he had 2 broken hips and a very bad blood clot in his left leg. And I went to visit John. And after the hour, it was a lot of swelling. It went down. And while I was working on him, I brought a kaleidoscope over because color vibrates with your chakras. So he did some of that and to vibrate into the color and so I integrate color too. But yes, I definitely use singing bowls for sure. And you can tell if you run it down somebody's, the front where it goes out of tune is where you need to work.
Oh, that's all kind of new to me. So does a lot of healers work using healing bowls?
I think I would imagine a lot of healers do that.
Everybody's on a different.
Some people just like to use crystals. I love crystals. I don't use them all that often unless somebody requests them. I prefer the other methods.
Yeah, certainly within spiritualism, they tend to just put their hands sort of slightly away from people and heal,
Zap them.
I suppose all these things are like tools. They help, don't they?
Definitely tools. And some people resonate with certain methods and some people don't. So again, it's whatever helps the person. You start getting feedback what's working better. So whatever gets in there to help, you use.
So a little bit of a jump of topic now from Valerie. We're going back to the David Carradine stuff. And when you first met David, did you feel an energy between the two of you? I mean, obviously you've got healing energy. She's obviously thinking about here. I mean, how did you feel about vibrations and did you feel it on a connection? Yeah, like Jane
connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Even from that first meet, especially from the first meeting, he was in the public news a lot. And I remember the escapade he had through Laurel Canyon where he was on LSD and mushrooms and was nude and broke into people's homes and things like that. And I remember
we all do, yeah.
Wow. Well, that is just so bizarre, but there was just this thing of like, it didn't turn me on, but not a turn on, but I mean, it was just like an intriguing feeling. And then I had all these mutual friends in common. And like I said, Gail, we went to Valley College, not at the same time. Gail actually went to college with Ed Begley Jr. And her boyfriend and my boyfriend were roommates together. And Gail was the wife before me. It gets kind of confusing because there were 5 wives. 6 if you count Barbara Hershey. They weren't married, but they had a kid together. So yeah, that was
a drink problem, Marina.
Huh?
Did Gail have a drink problem?
Yeah, she definitely had it.
As you're talking, I'm seeing somebody drinking.
Yeah. I didn't realise that Ed Begley went back that far because we met Ed Begley when we came to see you, didn't we?
I've known Ed since I was 16 because I was in high school when he was in Valley College.
Yeah.
And so through these various friends, I just remember feeling, I know I'm going to meet him again. I really want to. I just felt like I had to meet him again. And then when the second husband, Michael Anderson Jr., my second husband, and his friend, they wrote a treatment for a screenplay and they brought it to David. I wanted to go visit. For some reason, I didn't, but I felt like, oh my God, I was just so close. But it was just over the years. It was, and then finally, when I went to audition for the show, I had a car accident 3 days before that. And I had a major concussion. I had stitches over my left eye. And I was so loopy for this audition. I'm sitting there in the waiting room to go in. I couldn't even remember my name, let alone lines. And in blows David through the doors. He's got this just bizarre outfit on and he's barefoot, of course. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're here to read for me, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, are you ready?" And I said, "Not really." And I said, "By the way, my friend Gail Jensen you're married to her. We went to Valley College." And he goes, "I'm going to read with you." And then I think, oh crap. I thought it was just be with the casting director. No, he's going to be in the room and he's going to read with me. I blew the audition. I just was. And the producer who I had worked with before, I guess, started another show in Toronto, and he called me and said, "Well, hon, the audition really didn't go great." And I didn't tell them I had a car accident. I told him when he called me, and he said, "Well, I'll explain to them." And so, okay, fast forward, they had another role, a guest star role on the show. I was back in Toronto. I auditioned for that, and I got that guest star role. On set is Gail. "Oh God, Marina, my God, you got to come over and visit." So I knew them as friends, David as friends, and fast forward with the drinking problem, they separate, and the rest is history. So there you go. It was that I just knew something, but I didn't know what it was. But when I looked at him, this is what I explained to Dr. Drew and what he kind of filled me in on. I felt a very deep connection, attraction, but it was a darkness. And I didn't understand until later the darkness was the abusive behavior from my uncle and his thing. And it you attract the person who's most likely to oblige.
Yeah.
So that was part of my mission to help him and heal myself. So there was a huge spiritual overall to this whole thing. And there you go.
Yeah, tough times, really.
Yeah.
One from Jennifer. How do you protect yourself from energy absorbed by healing others? I suppose you've had a lot of time protecting yourself from negative energy from people, from the sounds of it.
Well, yeah. Not just
animals might be so bad.
it's when you just out there. I mean, if I go into a store, if I forget to put that shield over me, even when I do put the shield over me, it's sometimes you get bombarded. It's everybody's energy, you know, and it's hard to take sometimes. So yeah, you have to visualize you have protection. When you're working on someone, you don't use up your own energy. That's why you have to pull up the energy through you into the person and not use your own per se. But I believe a lot of it is divine energy coming through to help heal someone or an animal. So I meditate before and ask for that to come through to help this being.
Yeah, I would say darkness cannot penetrate light. Only light can penetrate darkness. Right. And but nonetheless, even saying that,
you may feel their negative energy, but it's not like you're really it's not gonna harm you. It's energy, and you just what I do is I analyze what it is and where it's coming from and why I'm feeling like that. Because sometimes if I'm working on somebody, I'll feel it in my stomach or my arm or something. It's not me, it's just feeling it from them. So you're not going to harm yourself. It's your way of knowing what's going on with the other person.
Yeah, I think the worst that happens is you feel drained, don't you? And it's the same with people, because I mean, I remember doing a reading for someone, and that person had been in a car accident, and the glass had cut the top of their head off, you know. And I remember after the reading, I could not get rid of the sensation around my throat for ages of a pain in the throat.
Yeah,
I was obviously carrying for some time.
Well, because you're going through the trauma with them in a way. So in a way, you are experiencing that, and your body's reacting in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you have to clear it, really, don't you? In that case, I didn't have time to clear it through. But yeah, I imagine a light pouring through me. I don't know what you do, Marina, but I imagine a light pouring through me like a psychic shower that washes away.
Well, there's various ways to do it, to disconnect. That's where it's important when you work on somebody, you have to disconnect from them or you carry it with them. It's like an actor, you go into character and you do your scene, but you're still carrying that creep with you home, right? You got to disconnect from it or the character or whatever. So there's different ceremonies you can do, and really just feel a scissors, cut the cord and, have it release and feel the release. There's all sorts of things to do.
Yeah. So we've got the last questions coming up now because we're coming close to the end of the session. Remember. So don't forget also, Marina's book is out there, which we'll put a picture up in a moment. And also do subscribe to the channel as well. And any details you want about Marina is all down there in the description below the video on YouTube. And you can also keep following this channel. Do also put your comments below, because Marina will see those comments. And there's all the connections there to Marina's jewelry, to all her books and some of the interesting things with her world. And don't forget to read the book as well, because it is a really gripping read.
Gripping.
Yeah, gripping.
I was up all night reading it.
Yeah. She read it before me and she kept going on and on about it. I thought I'm going to have to read this.
It's long as a quick read. And you learn about Hollywood and all sorts of stuff. It isn't just about There's a lot of fun things in there too, and it's very informative about Hollywood relationships.
Yeah, I mean, you came in at a very interesting angle into it, and I think that's where you came in really as an ordinary person that came into this world, and suddenly we're in the big star league, weren't you? And it's a fascinating story.
I would say Marina's ordinary.
No, you're a down to earth person.
Not ordinary.
No, but you haven't had like something
special.
Yeah, she's a special girl.
I'm down to earth, I think's the word, and a person that you can relate with.
And if people want to contact me, if you want to learn healing, I'd be happy to teach you. We'll do sessions or something. So I'm open to that too, of course.
Okay, one of the last questions
for people or your animal or something.
Yeah, and don't forget, you can all the links are there in the description below. And if you put your comments too, I mean, Marina will be coming back afterwards to see the comments on the YouTube, and the YouTube will obviously be up there for some time. So do keep putting your comments in, and then we can
comments coming.
Okay, last one from Brandon Hill. Do you know your guides, Marina? Are they any in the room with you now?
Oh, they're with me all the time. There's been too many things that have happened, and messages that have come. They're with me all the time. Definitely believe that. What was the question answer?
Are they in the room with you now? But actually, that's a bit of a misconception, I think. The guys
I feel like I have a crowd with me right now.
Yeah.
It's they want to get the information through to help people. It's why I'm doing this, is to try and help more people. So and they've been pushing me to do this, and through other friends too, have constantly asked me, well, are you doing the thing yet? Are you doing like, okay, I get it. Okay. All right. So yeah, I definitely feel a presence around me. Yeah.
Jennifer's going to check out the book. You've got one fan there already, Marina.
Yeah.
And it is an interesting book.
You just can't put it down. It's a great
Thank
book.
you, Craig and Jane and Marina. Wonderful session. Well, that's nice. Thank you, Guy. We always like praise.
Craig does.
Hello from Denmark too. Yeah.
Denmark.
I've got a lot of friends. I've got a cough tonight again. A lot of friends in Denmark.
It's dry air. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So thank you, Craig, Jane and Marina, for sharing and reminding us of our great potential. Indeed,
sweet.
all of us have healing potential.
Absolutely.
It can be brought out, and you can obviously go to someone like Marina to get help if you want some help with healing and learning it. But also, we can all send healing thoughts to people too. They do work.
People think it's just for a physical thing, but I help people, PTSD, trauma, anxiety, just ordinary stress, things like that on a psychological level too, because that can become a dis-ease in the body. When it's already manifested in the body, it's into a different stage. So you try and nip it in the bud, and do it that way too.
Well, you're a Libran, and I know that Librans are very much into the idea of harmony, peace, balance, and helping people to do. Another Libran here. Aquarius, of course, is the best sign of all.
Aquarian sisters.
But okay, we've got to thank you for high death too. Thank you. So thank you, everybody,
thank
too,
you
for
appreciate that.
following this. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Marina, for coming along. It's been absolutely fantastic having you here. So interested. We'll have you back, I hope. And thank you all for following the channel. Particularly thank you for all those patrons out there that help support the channel. And don't forget, Marina also helped us with the movie Mystic Journey to India. And you can see that on Amazon Prime. So you can go to Amazon Prime. There's some bits of it too. Also, for those of the patrons, are on the site at the moment in the patron section.
It's a fascinating, fun adventure that you had. So
incredible world. Yeah, incredible things.
Marina, his adventure started when he met me.
Right. That's right.
So we're going to say bye to you now, folks, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you again soon. Keep following the channel. Bye for now.
Bye.
Right. We're off air now.
That was like quick. It was like, really? Okay. Oh,
yeah.